Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur. And you know what? When Travis Kalanick was fired and the search for the new CEO took place, I honestly assumed it would be a few weeks before he got a new CEO. But as the weeks and then the months drag on, and we near the September deadline that Uber has placed on itself to get a new CEO, the question has arisen: what on earth is going on? How on earth do we not still have a CEO, a CFO, or I think it's an AFO, I don't know. And there have been a lot of candidates that have been publicly speculated upon, some of which you even admitted they were talking to Uber. Some of the candidates I actually kind of liked. But the biggest blow and the biggest thing that clue that there was something wrong, as if there's never anything wrong with Uber, is that Meg Whitman publicly withdrew her name from consideration for being the CEO. Now, this was especially disappointing because a lot of people from the board, the Uber board, that should say, were really looking forward to wooing her. They had meetings with her, some of the members. She had some good ideas, and she has the experience, and they were willing to make a serious effort to get her to join Uber. And then she publicly withdrew her name from consideration. And that was disappointing for them. And the question remains why. And according to some reporting by the New York Times, it might actually have to do with the fact that Travis Kalanick is still on the board of Uber. And the reason that is an issue is because Kalanick and a few loyal board members, because there are a few that are loyal, are colluding to dilute the CEO search. Now, here's the thing. Because of the firing of Michael Emmel, which I believe was done to remove the winning vote on Kalanick's part, and then the resignation of that guy, whatever his name was, who made the sexist remark during the meeting, Kalanick's voting power to overrule board decisions was effectively taken away. However, he still has control of the board, and he has enough voting power to prevent progress from happening. And now the Uber board is reportedly split in two, with one side desperately trying to find a new CEO and steer Uber towards a bright future, one that's profitable and well loved. And then you have the other side, which basically is trying to get Travis Kalanick back into a operational role of power, maybe even CFO, if not CEO. In fact, remember how last week I reported that Softbank had invested a lot of money into Grab. How Didi and Softbank had invested a lot of money into Grab, and that they were looking to do the same with Uber. Well, it's because apparently Kalanick and some of the board members met with Softbank and did a little bit of fundraising, trying to get them to invest in some Uber stock or whatever they give out when they do these fundraising rounds. Now, that would have accomplished two things. One, it would have raised some money for the company, which Uber is frankly pretty good about doing. But it also would have diluted the shares that are currently on the board. And as Travis Kalanick keeps buying back shares, that would then give him hopefully enough shares to maneuver back into power at Uber. Remember how early on in this we all said how there was like that Buyback program, and Uber was letting people cash out of the company early, and how that was Travis Kalanick basically buying back shares of the company to gain more and more power to make him untouchable. Well, apparently there was some truth to that. The thing was, he didn't get enough shares to actually have that vetoing power before he was finally forced into resignation, and he lost Arianna Huffington's support. And by the way, we will be talking about Arianna Huffington tomorrow, because there's an aspect of that we haven't touched upon yet, and I think we need to talk about it. But anyway, the plan isn't a bad plan. You keep buying shares, and soon you have enough voting power. So Kalanick apparently is still buying back little by little. And what he is doing is he is colluding with certain board members to delay, if not outright disrupt, the CEO search. while he gets more investor money into dilute stock shares so that he can keep buying them, hopefully where he can get enough power, and then guess what? He can take over Uber again. And then things can go back to the way they were because things were just working out so good before he resigned. Right? So this is a nightmare for Uber. This is an outright nightmare. I mean, I'm going to give Kalanick credit. I'm going to give him this much credit. He's a sneaky one. It almost feels like Elmo Fudd. Oh, that wascally wabbit. It just keeps escaping us. So, he's smart. I mean, it's one of those frustrating things where it's like, why can't you be this cunning where it matters? Why couldn't he be this cunning when it came to how drivers are treated? And the thing is, if Kalanick is to regain control of Uber, and I'm sorry to say this, folks, there's a chance he might. He's smart enough he could take back Uber, and it looks like he's been doing a pretty good job of keeping Uber from getting a new CEO. But if he does that, he's going to steer the company back on track. And the funny thing is, I don't think most of the board is sharing Kalanick's vision anymore. I don't think they are, because what was the first thing that happened when he was fired? Tipping was added, and then rates were raised. Not everywhere, but in a few cities where they desperately needed to be raised, even more so than they already do. And and there was a new focus towards retaining drivers, not just treating drivers as disposable things. Uber seemed to wake up and realize, you know what, we seriously have had a misbalancing act. We need drivers. We need to still invest in the autonomous vehicles, but we also need to invest in drivers. Here's the thing, if Kalanick comes back, guess what? We're in trouble again. Because Kalanick does not like drivers. He has never liked drivers. And he is crazy enough to think that the self-driving cars are coming soon. I mean, to that matter, Lyft's a little delusional too. I mean, because Lyft was the one that made the claim, hey, we're going to put self-driving cars on the end of the road at the end of the year. No, you're not. You're not. Shut up. You're not going to do that. None of you are going to do that. Those cars are not ready yet. The laws aren't in place. Heck, I think even if these cars were ready, until new laws were proposed that actually let the cars drive themselves, you still need someone to man the vehicle. But with Kalanick back, he is delusional enough to think that he can bully his way into that future, that, the tipping's going to go away again. He's going to, maybe the rates will get cut again, just because. Heck, Kalanick might actually go so far as to try to drive the drivers out of the company. I'm serious. You think I'm crazy? I believe Kalanick hates the drivers so much that it is a classic case of he would cut off his nose to spite his face. He would very much do it. And yeah, because he only cares about one thing. He cares about getting back into power. That's all he cares about. Now, I don't know exactly what led him to resign at this point. I think I'm under the impression that he either lost enough power that he was forced to resign, which he definitely resents, but he has enough board power to keep them from getting a new boss. Or maybe because his mother had just died, maybe he was caught in a moment of temporary grief where he resigned out of weakness because he was trying to grieve properly. And then once that was done, it was like, oh, shoot. What did I do? I need to get back on that board right away. That is my baby. Uber's mine. I need to take it back. I don't know. But the bottom line is we are coming up to that September deadline. But if we don't have a new CEO with Uber by then, we have a very good idea why. And if Softbank or any other company invests in Uber right now, watch out. Watch out, because then we're all in trouble. We are all in trouble. And, oh boy, at this point, Kalanick would seriously do well to consider just letting Uber go. Take his millions, create another company, and collect royalty checks from Uber. Collect the royalty checks and create a second company. Heck, maybe he could have 2 multi-billion-dollar value companies. That is quite an accomplishment. Maybe he can create something that Uber would want and do a Steve Jobs' next computer and have Uber buy his company, which would then give him back power. I mean, I would definitely not like that because I don't think Kalanick... I mean, here's the funny thing. With Steve Jobs definitely a stubborn man. But kicking him out humbled him enough to where he changed his tactics later in life. But Kalanick, I do not believe, has been humbled, nor do I believe enough time has gone by for him to have substantially learned anything. Sorry about that, Chuck, folks. So yeah, it's going to be, it might potentially be a bloodbath. It could be a bloodbath. But now, of course, I pass the question to you guys. What do you believe? Do you think Kalanick will rejoin Uber as a CFO or the CEO again? Do you think he has the capacity to regain control? And what do you think of him and his loyal board members' efforts to subvert the rest of the board to get a new CEO? Because it should be mentioned that the board is split into 2 halves. The half on Kalanick's side and the half on the investor side, who really need this company to actually start delivering on the promise of that $70 billion valuation. I'd like to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos, consider becoming a Patreon member for as little as $1 a month, or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store. If you want to try driving for Uber or Lyft, use the referral links below. You'll get a nice little bonus in most markets. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.